Friday was underway at the Sepang International Circuit, and initially there were some major signs that some teams definitely looked better than others. McLaren seemed that they were right at home with the car, looking very quick and setting the fastest lap times across the 4 practice sessions. Having a flawless weekend so far, the working team felt very upbeat about their chances for the coming race, as they believed that they did have an edge over BAR and Williams, who both also seemed very impressive based off the Friday running. Renault seemed to be struggling a bit, continuing what was a very disappointing start to the 2005 season, but there were some signs that their race pace could be better than their qualifying pace. Briatore mentioned that he is still very confident with the R25 will deliver, and that they just need to iron out some basic issues. Ferrari were looking at decent shape in Malaysia. They feared that the high temperatures would affect them, but luckily enough for this weekend, the overall temperatures haven't really been that high and they've been competitive, albeit that their qualifying pace is still off like they said at Australia. Finally, Sauber and Red Bull were really struggling at Sepang on Friday and were dropping way off the lap times. They weren't that far off the Jordans and Minardis and were accepting that this weekend may be a write-off for both of these teams. This is severely disappointing for Sauber due to it being their home race for their main title sponsor Petronas.
Yo, what's going on guys, it is Tom and welcome back to a brand new video, and this is episode number 2 of Schumacher Returns, and we're here for episode number 2, like I said, the Malaysian Grand Prix. One of the okay tracks on the calendar, it's one that I'm actually okay with and I don't really mind in real life. But here we are then, right now in qualifying. As you can see, Michael Schumacher is gearing up for his one and only time lap, man. This is a very tricky circuit to get nailed down. It's got a lot of tricky corners and you've got to really be really good with it. As you can see, Michael Schumacher has begun his lap now, making his way through the tricky turns 1 and turn 2, which are 2 very slow corners that you need to have a lot of patience with. As we now get on the power, going through turn number 3 now, absolutely flat out, really really good corner. It's downhill and it's really really nice on the camera there as we go into turn number 4 now, and you got to brake really hard down the second gear. Really tricky corner here. You don't want to go onto the curb too much and then get some nice clean traction as we make our way into turn number 5, which is a really nice swooping left-hander, which then converts into a swooping right-hander, and you're going to try and maintain the momentum here, which is absolutely crucial as you gear up for turns 7 and 8. It's a double apex right-hander, and you want to take in 4th gear. Make sure not to use too much curb on the exit. Michael Schumacher just about keeping it within track limits there as we now prepare for turn number 9, the slowest corner on the track, the infamous hairpin, which is a really really tricky uphill off-cambered hairpin apex, and Michael negotiates that quite beautifully now as we make our way into turn number 11 now in 3rd gear, just trying to get into the power nice and easily as we go into the second split, and Michael is currently 7 tenths down, which isn't too bad as we go through turns 12 and 13, which is a left-right chicane combo, and a turn 13 quickly becomes turn 14, which is almost like a right-hand swooping braking zone, which is one of the most trickiest corners, if not the trickiest one on the track, because obviously you can lose your way around the braking there. But nevertheless, Michael is now going into the final corner, down the back straight, going to go all the way down to 2nd gear, take it nice and easy, not to use too much curb on the inside, get onto the power, and hopefully this should be enough to get a decent lap time as Michael comes across the line now. And where's this lap going to put him? It's going to put him in P6, so not too bad there from Michael Schumacher. A pretty decent lap there, only 7 tenths off a pole position, who was Juan Pablo Montoya, so a decent lap there from the 7 times world champion. As you can see, Michael actually did finish in 6th in the end, and Montoya actually led up McLaren 1-2 with Fisichella there in impressive 3rd place, with Harfield and Button in 4th and 5th. Obviously Michael Schumacher in 6th place, then Takuma Sato in the 2nd BAR in 7th place, with Ralf Schumacher and Jarno Trulli in 8th and 9th, and Barrichello running out the top 10 in the sister Ferrari. And then the only shocking qualifying was Fernando Alonso, way down at P16 for some reason. So really poor qualifying there from Fernando Alonso, but overall, that is good for the Malaysian Grand Prix. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the race. So here we are then, it is race day, and we are gearing up for the 5 red lights, and I can't wait to get underway now. As you can see, the engines are starting to rev up, and we're going to get ready for 4 red lights in this case. As you can see, the lights are coming on now, and I can't wait. Here we go then, 4 red lights, and the Malaysian Grand Prix is underway, and the final light taking an absolute age to go out, but finally we are underway. Michael Schumacher getting a pretty decent start off the line now as he makes his way into turn number 1, getting past Nick Heidfeld already now as he goes up these sides from cars at turn number 1. Can he make a move up some other maybe cars? No, he can't. Actually Heidfeld's coming back at him, and Ralf Schumacher's actually mounted Michael Schumacher just behind him there as well. I think he got on his rear wing, so one of the Toyotas there all over the place, but now Michael Schumacher has got the power and has managed to overtake Nick Heidfeld definitively now, and has got himself up in the P4 for the start of this race. But Obviously, if you guys know what the Bridgestones are like, then the Bridgestones do tend to take a while to gap the temperature, unlike the Michelin. So Ferraris are going to be at the start of the race, but hopefully if Marco can fend off Highfield at the start and get into a bit of the rhythm, then it looks like Marco could come into this race. As he loses the rear end, an absolute treat there, like I said, because of the cold Bridgestone tyres, and then them taking an absolute age to warm up. That's actually allowed Highfield to come back at Michael Schumacher and go around the outside of him there. But Michael's going to get him back straight away, instantly, not messing about and not losing any time. And already getting right into the thick of it already on lap number 1. But now skipping later on in the race onto lap number 2. As you can see, now Michael was on the back of Pablo Montoya, who was on pole position and has dropped down to 3rd place now. Michael's going to try and go around the outside of the Colombian here at turn number 2. Can he make the move stick? No, he can't. Montoya just squeezes Michael onto the curb there, and that allows Nick Heifeld actually to come back at Michael Schumacher. Here he goes there, but Michael's going to just about pull ahead there as their head obvious German compatriot for the time being. But so far it's been an absolutely hectic race, and Michael's now on the back of Juan Pablo Montoya. Once again, he's going to go for a move this time up the inside of the hairpin. Can he make a move for Fisichella? No, he can't. That's a bit too much to ask for, but Michael is right on the back of the Italians. He hits the back of Fisichella there, but Michael's now got himself up in the 3rd place, and meanwhile Kimi Raikkonen up front is running away with it, and this is absolutely coming up perfect for him because he can just do his own thing, set some fastest laps and just pull away. And now Michael is on the back of Fisichella, getting into the slipstream as we go onto lap number 3. And can Michael Schumacher possibly make a move on Fisichella here into turn number 1? It's going to have to be a bit of a bold move, but he's going to go for it. It's a dive bomb of sorts from quite far back. Does Michael get the car slowed down? Yes, he does. He gets the car nicely slowed down, missing his apex a little bit, but he got the car slowed down, which is crucial. And now it's allowed Michael Schumacher to go hunt down Kimi Raikkonen, who he has caught up to on the end of number 3. Michael's going to have a look up the inside of turn number 14 here. Can he make the move stick? Yes, he has. A very easy move there from Michael Schumacher, but Kimi is going to try and come back at him. And exactly 1 corner later on the start at number 4, Kimi does go up the inside of turn number 1 and almost has contact with Michael Schumacher there, which forces him out wide. And as you can see, Kimi right now is very, very audacious and very anxious to get that position back on Michael Schumacher. Schumacher has a massive bit of oversteer there, which allows Kimi Raikkonen back through for the time being. And so far, this race has been absolutely incredible. The battling has just been absolutely fantastic, and it's just been a joy to watch. As now Michael Schumacher is going to try and set up Kimi Raikkonen for another overtake now as we go on to lap number 5. And can Michael make a move here up the inside of Kimi Raikkonen? Yes, he does. He's super late on the brakes compared to the AI, and Michael is really, really good into that first corner. And the Brembo brakes on the fry really doing Michael Schumacher a massive favour and just allowing him to get right up the sharp end. And also, by this point, the Bridgestones are nicely and heated up now, so now Michael can race at full speed and keep up with the front runners comfortably with the just up to temperature Bridgestone tyres. But meanwhile, resuming back onto the action, Kimi Raikkonen's had a little bit of contact with Michael Schumacher there and actually forced Michael well, which allowed Kimi to get back through once again. But is Michael going to go for the same old move once again now into turn number 1 on the start lap number 6? And it looks like he might do as Michael Schumacher goes up the inside of turn number 1. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can, just about. Kimi's going to squeeze him as much as he can onto the curb. Going side by side through turn number 1, and Kimi's now going to go up the inside of turn number 2. Michael is still on the outside. He's going to try and go to the power back. Kimi just about manages to swipe around the outside, and now Highfield is coming back into the scrap as he goes up the inside of Michael Schumacher, who's going to blink first into turn number 4. It looks like it's about neck and neck, and now Highfield's going to try and go up the inside. Can Michael get the traction? Yes, he does, and he managed to stay ahead of the German for the time being. There's some absolutely incredible racing here so far at the Sepang International Circuit, and a really, really fun race to watch. And now Michael Schumacher's just got caught on the inside. He's lost the rear end. He's off for the track. Is he going to hit the wall? Yes, he is. But lucky enough, it's only a slight tap, so Michael might just be okay to get away with that one. But that was a pretty hefty crash there, and lucky enough, no damage on Michael's car. But it's a very high-speed incident and quite a scary one at that. And Michael is all the way down to P14, so Michael is miles behind. But lucky enough, there are plenty of laps here for Michael Schumacher to try and come back into it, and Michael is now right on the back of Jacques Villeneuve, the former 1997 world champion, and Michael's going to probably try and line up for a move as he goes up the inside, and he's going to probably comfortably get him into the braking zone of turn number 1 like so. And Michael's now up into 13th place, so Michael's got a fair few positions to go until he can actually get himself right back into the points, because obviously the points the minimum point scoring positions is actually P8, not P10. So Michael's got a few positions to get to here as Michael goes around the outside of Fernando Alonso into turn number 13, I think it is, or 14. But now Alonso's come back at him, but Michael's just going to squeeze him to the outside and not allow Alonso to just get past him there. And so far, so good for Michael Schumacher. He's now on the back of Felipe Massa. And can he make a move up the inside here? It's going to have to be a bold one. He has a look. Actually, Massa backs out of it and gives Michael the room. And Michael just says thank you very much and goes up the inside there. And it's a nice overtake from Michael Schumacher on the Brazilian. And meanwhile, it's all kicking off up ahead. As you can see, Barrichello, Michael Schumacher's teammate, is trying to make a move on Jenson Button. And Schumacher's going to get a wonderful cut back here on Rubens Barrichello, and he's going to make the move at the inside. And can he get Button as well? He's going to have a look, but Button manages to close the door on him there. But a lovely switchback from Michael Schumacher on Rubens Barrichello there, and he's now all over the back of Jenson Button. Is he going to make a move up the inside here, Michael Schumacher? Yes, he does. It's a lovely overtake there from the 7 times world champion, and he makes the move stick comfortably on the British driver. And as you see, Michael is now up in the P9, so one more position, and Michael will be into the points as he goes around the outside of Jarno Trulli. Almost contact there between the two of them, but Michael does get the move done eventually, and he's now on the back of Giancarlo Fisichella. And can he possibly make an overtake into this next double right-hander? Yes, he does. And Michael right now is on an absolute charge and a mission to hunt down the top 5, and he is absolutely flying right now, and he's just cutting through the field like a hot knife through butter as he's on the back of Mark Webber now on the end of lap number 9. Can he make a move around the outside? It's a bit tight there, and Michael is going to make his stick nevertheless. That's a fantastic overtake there from Michael Schumacher. And right now there's 4 cars up ahead battling for a position, so this is getting really, really tasty up front now. And look at this, Kimi Räikkönen, who was once in the race lead, has dropped down to P5, and Montoya now has retaken the race lead. So things are getting really interesting here in this race, as now Michael gets some really good traction out to number 2 and goes around the outside of Räikkönen and also Ralf Schumacher. So a double overtake there from Michael Schumacher there. Fantastic move, and he's now on the back of Takuma Sato, who's actually going to go around the outside of turn 4 there. So a triple overtake in the space of 2 corners from Michael Schumacher, and he's now back into the podium positions, and he's got about 8 laps to try and catch race leader Juan Pablo Montoya and Nick Heidfeld, who he's actually caught up to by the end of lap number 13. So it's taken him 3 laps, but Michael has got there eventually. And as you can see right now, it's a free car scrap for the race win, and the SC comes down top now as we go to turn number 1. Michael's going to go to the inside and try and go up the inside of Heidfeld, and also Montoya pulls off a double overtake there. An absolutely fantastic move from Michael Schumacher, and Montoya and Heidfeld are going side by side. So Michael just completely gone up the inside and made a really, really easy move there on the pair of them, and made it really, really easy for himself. And now skipping all the way on to lap number 15, as you see, we're only a couple of laps left to go now. Heidfeld has got past Montoya, and it's now Heidfeld who's really starting to mount the challenge later on in this race as he tries to go up the inside of Michael Schumacher in turn number 4 here, but Michael's going to hang it around the outside, and Michael's having none of it, and he's going to get the better traction, and he's going to make the move stick and hold on to his lead for a couple more laps now. As you can see, Michael is now coming into the final corner on the final lap for the final time in this race, and it looks like after the disappointment last race in Australia, Michael's going to come through for a fantastic race win here at Malaysia. A massive 10 points, and that is going to really help him out in the championship, because obviously last time out he had a brake failure, so Michael needed to get some points on the board. And albeit, however, even though Michael had that spin, he still managed to recover, which shows the pace Ferrari's had here at Malaysia. And it just proves the point that if Ferrari can get the Bridgestones heated up and get up to temperature, then they are really, really fast. And just looking at the final race results now, Michael Schumacher wins ahead of Nick Heidfeld and Ralf Schumacher, actually, who managed to get 3rd place, and then Montoya dropped down to 4th and Kimi down to 7th, and then they're both BRs in 5th and 6th. Barrichello in 8th ran out the point scoring positions, and both Renaults out of the top 10, so a very poor race for them. But looking at the Drivers' World Championship, as you can see, Montoya is still in the lead with Heidfeld in 2nd, but with that race win, Michael boosts himself straight up into 3rd place, and then you've got Sato, Fisichella, Button, Trulli, Ralf Schumacher, Alonso and Räikkönen rounding out the top 10. So Alonso, Räikkönen, they're really starting to trundle down the low end of the top 10. But looking at the second half of the table, only Coulthard and Barrichello have points there. So the pretty poor second half of the table there. But overall, it's been a really solid race. And we're now going to look at the constructors here. As you can see, Ferrari are down in 5th place, unfortunately, because Barrichello only has 1 single point and Michael has 10. So Barrichello needs to bring up his game there to try and help out the Ferraris. But nevertheless, guys, you can pause the video and check out any standings that you may have missed. But overall, hopefully you have enjoyed the video, guys. And if you have, then please do leave a like down below. And if you're new on here, then please do be sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, there's a link down below at Tom97HD. But yeah, guys, that's about for this video. I'm Tom97HD, and I'm going to get a drink. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.